I started filming like a whole intro and everything, and I wasn't even recording. Hello, it's me. Hey guys, it's Isabel. So I wanted to film a video today on what it's like to be a dance teacher. So I'm having a video about my job. I absolutely love my job. It's the only job I've ever had, and I don't intend on stopping like ever. I love teaching dance. This is just how I run my classes and everything, and I just wanted to tell you guys I love both studios that I teach at, and yeah, I just wanted to give you guys a little bit of insight on what I do. So the two styles I teach tap and jazz right now. I would love to teach other styles in the future. Those are my classes right now. I teach 3 levels of jazz and 1 level of tap, and I teach all ages from 3, and I think my oldest student is 18. I work around 3 to 4 days a week, and I teach around 7 to 8 classes, and sometimes I do privates, so it really just depends on the week what I'm doing, but I teach a solid 6 classes every week. So I just wanted to tell you guys how I got into teaching. So one of my dance teachers, Shay, kind of got me into teaching. I assisted her with a lot of her classes and everything, and that's when I started teaching at that studio, and then I started teaching at another studio around a year later. I started teaching when I was 15 years old, and it's really young, but it's because I became a tap teacher, because tap isn't really a big style where I live. Not a lot of people know it, not a lot of people teach it, and my teacher helped me a lot with how I run my tap classes and everything. I kind of switched it up, but I owe her a huge thank you, because I would not be a teacher right now if it wasn't for Miss Shay. Hi Shay, I don't know if she watches my videos, but if she is, I love her, and I hope she's doing well where she's at. She moved. I'm kind of sad about it. So teaching at 2 studios is really hard, because sometimes it's just sort of like a lot, but both studios are very understanding that I need to work 2 jobs. I don't really need to, but I want to. I love my kids. Sorry, this video like makes no sense. I'm just kind of rambling. I wanted to tell you guys why I became a dance teacher. When my dance teacher left, they asked me if I wanted to take over the class, and I honestly always knew I wanted to be a dance teacher, always. It just seemed like something I would be interested in. But at 15 years old, and they're like, can you take over these classes that like your teacher was teaching? And like the teacher was such a professional. I worked with her for so long, and it was just like there were really big shoes to fill. So I wasn't really sure about taking that job, because I was like, I don't know if I can do this, like especially working with kids who are older than me. I was like, I don't know if I can do it, but she talked me through it. She's like, it's gonna be fine. And that's how I got my first job. I did a lot of research about like jazz classes and stuff like that, and I always do a lot of research on dance history, because I think it's very important to know, and of course like different teaching styles and different learning styles also, because it's important to know how your students are learning. Yeah, there's these papers I have from one of my old teachers, Jeremy, who would teach like teaching workshops kind of, and they were really helpful. Anyways, I kind of got off track. I started teaching because I really loved the kids I was working with, because again, I was an assistant to the class pretty much, and I loved the kids I was working with, and I was like, sure. And then I fell in love with teaching, and that's when I started taking like more hours, and I set my first competition dance this year, and those kids are doing so good. They make me really proud. They're kind of little, they're like little babies, but they're very talented, and I love working with them. I love working with all my kids. So that's sort of why I started teaching, and I never plan on stopping. I love it. I wanted to give you guys a little preface of how I run my classes. I'm going to be speaking for my jazz classes. My tap classes are very different depending on the level I'm working with. I usually work with like beginners, so we spend a lot of time learning new steps, but with my jazz classes it's a lot different. I teach 3 levels, and it's really dependent on age, but the first 30 minutes of every class I teach is always the same. So I always do a warm-up, and then I work on technique. It's the like 3 like basic things. It's turns, legs, and jumps. And then after that, depending on the day, I have this note where I have my teaching plans, and depending on where we're at in the class, like right now we're working on like our recital dances and stuff, but I'll either have them learn choreography, work more on either legs, jumps, or turns. I'll do like an intense stretch with them, or sometimes I'll have them work on tricks, and a lot of the times it's just teaching them new steps, because the majority of the classes I teach are beginner classes. Even if it's like a higher level, like there's still always beginners in class, and the more advanced ones in the class will always they can always improve even if they already know the step. And I like to teach them something new every week or every other week. Yeah, that's how I go about. And it's really awesome because like in jazz there's so many things that you can teach them. Like I feel like I'll never run out of steps to teach them. Even I don't know everything. So yeah, they're really hardworking kids. I usually don't have a lot of problems with my older kids. Younger kids, it's always different. They have to learn how to be in a classroom environment, I guess, because it's like their days off from school. Sometimes they get a little rambunctious, but I still want them to have fun. I don't want them to be like, I never want to be the teacher that's like, you have to take this seriously or else like, why are you here? Like, that doesn't make any sense to me. I think that a lot of those kids are there for recreational purposes. Like, they're not on competition team or anything. A lot of them don't want to do dance as a professional career, and like I think that's cool. But I do want to help them in any way I can. Like a lot of my older age kids want to like talk to me about like their problems and everything, and like they come to me for advice, and that's really what's the word, it's very humbling to think that like I make an impact on the kids that I'm teaching so much that they like respect my opinion. Even like last week, one of my students had a audition for a movie, and she was asking me like tips and like stuff about her resume and stuff like that, and it's just really fun. So yeah, I love being a teacher. There are days that are harder than others to get the class under control. This is going into a question, so I'm just gonna answer. I left on my Instagram the questions you guys wanted to leave, so I wanted to answer just a couple of them, not a lot of them. This person asked, how do you control the children? And I never want to control a child. I want to control the classroom environment, so I want them to be listening and attentive, but I never want to control a student, if that makes sense. I want them to have the freedom to learn in whichever way they want, and as long as it's not disrupting others, that's fine with me. Some kids learn faster than others, and that's fine. And sometimes kids, especially the really like babies, sometimes the babies don't want to be there. Even when the baby's like, I don't want to be here, I'm like, but it's okay, because we're gonna do this and this and this, and then you'll get to go home and we're still gonna have fun. And the babies are so funny. I pass out lollipops to my students when they behave. I'm not trying to bribe them to behave, but I want to reward them in a positive way if they do behave. And if they're negatively behaving, I usually they're punished. They don't have like punishments if they negatively behave. I usually just ignore it, or if it's a problem to other students, I'll send them outside of class. And that's always a really hard decision to make, because like they're paying for class, and I do want them to be in there. I want every student to be in there. Sometimes it's best to send them out to like cool down, not because you don't want them there, but it's more for them to settle down. And then a lot of the times they'll come back, say sorry, and then they'll continue class. And a lot of other times their mothers are a big help. They like talk them out of it, and it's fine. Someone asked, how do you deal with like babies that scream? Sometimes they do it for attention, so you want to just kind of ignore it. Yeah, when the babies start screaming, you just have to tell them that they can't scream in class because it's a classroom. And a lot of the times when the babies haven't started school, they're a lot more they have a harder time with like the attentiveness, and that's fine. But when they're in school, it does help a lot because they have a teacher that helps them. The thing with toddlers, they have like pure hearts. Like they don't want to do something to make you upset. Sometimes they just have like energy that they need to get out, and that's fine, but you just have to make sure that they're getting out in the right way. So I always say like we have to be quiet, we can't be screaming, there's other classes going on, and like some of the students have sensitive ears, and I'm like we need to quiet down, like you guys are getting too loud. And the babies are always really respectful of the people around them, and even like me myself. So the babies are really good listeners. Sometimes they just forget. You just have to have patience. Patience is key, especially when it comes to having toddlers in your class, because again, sometimes they're not used to it. They're not used to being in a classroom environment. And the older kids I almost never have problems with. So yeah, the babies, you just have to play it by ear. It depends on the kid. So if a toddler is misbehaving, they're not doing it on purpose, and you just have to know how to approach that kid, because all kids are different. Sometimes they need positive reinforcement. You're behaving so nicely today, like let's keep that going. Or like, your volume level was really good today, let's not yell. And sometimes you need to be stern with them. Some of the kids, you have to be like, don't do that, that's not okay in my class. And a lot of the times they'll respect it. Like, I've never had a problem with a toddler who just didn't listen. I feel like with kids who are around 5 and up, signing them out of the room if they're misbehaving is a good way for them to settle down. But a lot of the times, toddlers who are misbehaving in class are doing so because they want to leave class. So you just have to motivate them to stay in class and dance, because we want them to be dancing. So yeah, that was only like 2 questions, but I feel like I got everything that I wanted to say off. So being a teacher is very rewarding. I love like when the babies give me hugs, they're so cute. And I love working with my students. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.